Hello and thank you for joining us here on Insights today. This is Global Television. We're live in Abuja, the capital of Nigeria. I'm Uyag Mofwebe. It's such a delight to be here today on the program. We want to look at so far so good. May 29th till today, the 17th day in the month of November 2023. That's the period during which President Bola Tinubu has been in power so far. I want to look at the quality of his leadership, the impact that this government has made so far vis-a-vis the promises made, even though some persons will say we're not even gotten to half of his first term in office. However, there are people who have also argued that there are certain objectives, certain milestones that should have already been in the bag already. I mean, so far at this point, from economy to policies around agriculture, education, health, infrastructure, and so on and so forth. We also want to look at how clear or otherwise the vision of this government is with regards to implementing, or if you like, driving the renewed hope agenda of the APC, which is primarily that of President Bola Tinubu. My guest today will help us find sense in these developments, particularly looking at efforts already being made by this government in the direction already highlighted. We're taking a quick break now. When we return, we'll get talking very seriously. My guest on the program today is Sunday Wugira, a lawyer and a socio-economic commentator. He joins me live via Zoom from Yola in Adamawa State. Sunday, thank you for the short notice and for making our time to have this discussion with us today on the program. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
Excellent. So you and I have talked about issues around the tribunal and the general election of 2023. But today we're turning our search lamp now on the man who emerged the winner of the presidential election, talking about our president, Bola Tinubu. We're seeing people criticize the progress made so far. In fact, we're seeing those who say, no progress has been made. We're also seeing those who say, well, the government has done so much within this short time, given the challenges that we deal with as a country. Tell me what your assessment is in terms of the socio-economic impact of this government so far.
Well, we looking at what we have on ground today. I think if we are to say that the government has not done anything, we are not being fair to the government. If we are to say that the government has done a lot, I think we have been hasty and been untruthful. First and foremost, as part of the continuum, coming from the same political party, so to say, with the previous government, the asset and the liability handed over to the government cannot be said to be something that the government should complain of, knowing that it is a policy of their party, it is a program of their party that they have inherited. Otherwise, one would have said, yes, the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has taken over a bankrupt country, a rudderless government, a policy-less government, with nothing on the ground. But we can't say the same of this. We can't say this of the same APC. They are of the same party. I believe they are doing the same thing as a government, as a party. So one cannot say that the assets and liability of President Muhammadu Buhari is not cannot be shouldered by the same government, and whatever blame that the government of President Muhammadu Buhari and whatever problem it brought upon government and Nigeria and Nigerians, it cannot be shared or taken over by Bola Ahmed Tinubu as a person and as a government, having come from the same party and having told Nigerians during the campaigns that he was going to continue where President Buhari stopped on May 29th. So it is really a continuation of the past. And we have seen it that the suffering is increasing, the decay is increasing, and everything is going bad, from bad to worse. And it's most unfortunate. But we have to say it that in some ways, the government really has started on a solid footing in some areas. And I would want to say that these areas is, in my own opinion, the issue of defense. That is all.
I'd like to talk to you about context. You know, when candidates of the All Progressives Congress, the presidential candidate, as it then was, now President Bola Tinubu, made that statement about continuing from wherever former President Muhammadu Buhari would leave off, became public. He was greeted with so much of mixed reactions. There were people who said, well, that didn't portend any promise for Nigeria. Help us create context. What exactly does it mean in practical terms when the president said, as the candidate of the APC, that he would continue from the point where former President Buhari would leave off?
Well, it does not require any interpretation. He was not coming as an outsider. He was not making that statement as a stranger to the government, not knowing what was happening in the government. He had more information as an individual, as a politician, as a candidate than the average Nigerian, than even those that are inside of the government peripherally. So, and what he said is now manifested. President Muhammadu Buhari, from May 29, 2015, the program was to pauperize Nigeria, to pauperize Nigerians, to demean Nigerians, to make everyone uncomfortable. That was the body language. That was the message. That was the interpretation from the beginning. So, and he succeeded in doing that in 8 years. A shrunken economy, deeply divided people, a backward country, you know, in every facet, be it political, be it economic, be it social, whatever. The social fabric that held Nigerians together was torn into smithereens and shreds by the president, by the government of President Muhammadu Buhari. And President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, when he was saying that he was going to continue where President Buhari stopped, he meant it. And he knew what he was saying in essence. And it is manifesting now. Of course, to an extent that now, yes, the government is saying it is embarrassed. Yes, it has
restore stream.
It has taken over.
Yeah, if you can over, yes, just go ahead.
And all that. They knew that the government was bankrupt. They knew that the economy was bankrupt. They knew that the country was bankrupt. You know, President Muhammadu Buhari left the government with a debt profile of 77 trillion. In 4 or 5 months that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu took over, our debt profile is now 87 trillion. So he has added 10 trillion in 7 or 5 months, in 5 months or 4 or 5 months. And one can see that if 4 or 5 months, we will have a debt profile of of about 10 trillion, you can imagine the future, as it were, by the time this government has stabilized.
Efforts. Now, we've seen the president say very remarkable things about where we are as a country. We've heard him talk about how that he knows what he inherited. He understands fully the place, where the country is at the moment across board. And he has also told his ministers and other members of his cabinets, they say, look, excuses will not be tolerated. Failure will not be tolerated. As a matter of fact, we will continue to do assessment and to evaluate against our key performance indicators. By the time we realize that any of you are not delivering value as expected, you would leave us. Can we not cut the president some slack? Can we not be fair to the president to say he's doing the most he can given the circumstances that we are grappling with as a country?
Well, given the situation and circumstance, we will give him the benefit of doubt and we will pray for him. One thing we must know is that if we pray that the president fails, we are praying that we also fail. And we are the ones that will bear the brunt of that failure. If we pray that he succeeds, when he succeeds, indeed, it is our success. And we will be the one that will enjoy the fruits of the success. We pray that he succeeds. But then we should know that when we just get relaxed, that yes, he has spoken well, and we believe it will be well, we might be in for a shocker. So we must be on our toes, and we must keep the government on its toes too.
I agree with Nigerians also taking their destinies in their hand by ensuring that government stays on track every other time. But let's look at policies for a minute, Barrister Wogira. How would you say, how purpose-driven, how much would you say the policies by this government under the leadership of President Tinubu if you like, is there alignment between the policies and the promises made within the framework of the Renewed Hope agenda?
Well, to an extent there is. To an extent there is a disconnect. Some of the ministers actually, they are in tune with the realities on ground, and they are doing their best to see that actually the progress, the required progress is made despite the challenges at hand. So this is commendable. Some of the ministers actually are creating more problems than solutions. And let me give you an example with the Minister of Solid Minerals. The other time he was talking about when some governors suspending mining activities in their state, they do not have such powers and all these things. I think he is oblivious of the workings of the Constitution. First, I understand, yes, he is not a lawyer, and he is not humble enough to ask questions before he goes about making such statements. A governor has the power to suspend economic activities where it becomes a threat to the peace and security of the state. What I expect the minister to do is to seek audience with the governors where such things are happening, the suspension is taking place, and work in tandem. What are the issues? Let us first understand the issues on ground. What is the way out? What is the law? What is the best way out? How do we work in progress together? Because one cannot work at cross purposes with the governor of a state and expect that there will be fruitful outcome. So these are some of the issues that I expect some of the ministers to look into seriously. You can't just come out because you talk is cheap, actually, and because you know how to engage the press. You can mislead yourself and mislead the public in what you say vis-a-vis what actually is happening on ground. So these are some of the things I expect some of the ministers to be circumspect about, and then look into these things holistically, and then go about solving the issues and not compounding the problems.
has made a handful of foreign trips upon assumption of office on May 29th. The government wants Nigerians to believe that these trips are largely driven by the president's intense desire to drive foreign direct investments. Are the results commensurate with the investment we make with regards to these trips?
Well, I always want people to realize that, yes, foreign trips are something that we can't run away from. It is fundamental. However, the president must not make these foreign trips as the fundamental issue. What is important for him to know is that once we put everything on ground, we make the environment favorable for investment, investment will come naturally. Nobody will want to come and put his money where he is not sure of first the favorable environment for business to thrive, where he is sure that his money is safe and his investment is safe. Himself or whoever that he's going to bring to look after his investment will be safe. The laws that would, in the event of any untoward issues, will resolve whatever differences they may have in the course of doing business with anybody or the government. The law is fair, and he knows that, yes, the adjudication would be fair to everyone. Investment is a coward. It goes to only where there is peace and tranquility. That is one thing everybody must understand. So for now, the foreign trips by the president and commander-in-chief is just a sightseeing expedition.
Upon assumption of office has further exacerbated the crisis between Labour and the government at the center. Would you say this government, in your opinion, by your assessment, has handled this crisis very well so far?
Well, it is sad that, yes, the government has not handled the labor issue very well. But then we must also say that the labor itself is not handling its own issue very well. I think the key players in the labor union are jokers. I apologize for the use of this word, but that is just the truth of the matter. Even if we don't use it, that is just the truth. They need to sit up. They need to be serious. They trivialize issues. They are being petty, you know. And I think that is not how to run labor unions. That is just the truth. The government has its own issues, but then labor is not helping itself. Now, labor has no any iota of reputation or integrity as far as Nigeria and Nigerians are concerned. They have lost it as a union. So they are just on their own now. Nobody believes them. Nobody is taking them serious. They better go and address themselves before the government will even take them serious.
So I want us to have what I probably want to call a bonus discussion in the next few minutes. I mean, you are up there in the north. Just today, the appeal court has sacked governor of Kano State and declared ordered INEC to swear in, or if you like, issue a certificate of return to the candidates of the PDP in that state. It's been a long, drawn-out battle with regards to the NNPP, the APC, I should say, in that state.
Yes.
What does this particular verdict of today say about not just Kano politics, but Nigeria as a democracy?
Well, I am really surprised as a lawyer with the outcome of the judgment, actually. I think there is a disconnect somewhere, and this is giving me a lot of apprehension. The same Court of Appeal decided in the issue of Peter Obi against Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the APC, where the APC raised the issue that in its defense anyway, that Peter Obi was not a member of the Labour Party at the time he was given the ticket. His name was not contained in the register of members of the Labour Party. The Court of Appeal decided, and rightly I believe, that these are pre-election issues and intra-party issue, not something to be brought about by anyone outside of the party. So it is surprising. The same Court of Appeal is today saying that Abba Kabir Yusuf, the governor of Kano State, is not a member of NNPP, and he's been not a member. He cannot contest election as an independent candidate. So having decided so, he was not, all the votes he got was were void votes, and I encourage them to study the judgment and proceed to the Court of Appeal. I mean, to the Supreme Court, and let us hear the Supreme Court in this issue finally before we conclude. But I think I'm not comfortable with that judgment.
Just before we go, I need to find out from you. I mean, you're a lawyer. You come with sizable experience under your belt, no doubt about that. But can we continue to have this culture where our democracy, for want of better words, tends to swing like a pendulum between INEC and the judiciary? Is that a sustainable practice for us?
That is never sustainable, and I think that should that calls for a serious legislation on this issue. But my concern and the misfortune of Nigeria and Nigerians lies in the fact that do we have people in the State Assembly and the National Assembly who has the balls, who have the understanding to really look at these issues with all sense of responsibility, with all sense of patriotism, to say, let us have a legislation that works for everyone, not a legislation that is that becomes a booby trap, and simply because it will favor me, I will work towards that. That is what 22 Electoral Act, and we are paying for that selfish legislation. We are paying for that self-protective laws that we have today. As for INEC, the time has come for Nigeria and Nigerians to rise against the monstrosity that we have in the Independent Electoral Commission today. They are the greatest challenge that we have to democracy. They are the people. You can see the elections in Imo, in Kogi and Bayelsa, where the results that INEC gave out as outcome of an election is at variance with what is on their IREF, you know, and you can see the problems that we are facing today. And then, of course, the judiciary itself, we need to introspect. We need to sit down and ask ourselves these basic questions. Are we really helping the people, or are we really destroying our country? Are we building democracy, or we are helping miscreants damaging democracy today? Whatever that becomes of our democracy today, concomitantly, it will rub on us. It will rub on whoever that is in this country. Whether you believe you do not have anything to do with our democracy, whether you believe your life, your sustenance, your existence is independent of whatever shenanigan that we have in our democratic culture and set up today as a nation. you must know that one single step that we miss in our democratic steps today is going to rub on you, and only God knows what will happen tomorrow by the time this democracy fails completely. God forbid. But I believe the time has come for Nigerians to come together, irrespective of our parties. Yes, you may succeed today and be happy for it. And so what? What next? By tomorrow, you could be on the other side of the sword.
That'll be much.
When you begin to complain.
I'm afraid that's the much time will allow us entertain, but apparently you have a very strong and valid argument there. But I would like to say thank you to you, Sunday Wugira, lawyer and social commentator, for coming to share with us this afternoon on the program.
Thank you very much. My pleasure. Yes.
And that's a wrap on the show. Thank you everyone for watching. Don't forget to join us later at 6:30 p.m. at Nigerian time here, when we have Big Talk. We want to look at the Kano election and the outcome between the tribunal, that is the governorship election tribunal in the state, and of course the appeal court judgment of this morning. I'm Uyag Mofwebe. Thank you so very much for watching. I'll see you again.